What's up, everyone? It's Goose, and today I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people always comment about, and that's headless guitars. Both on Twitch and TikTok, I've been pretty vocal about the advantages of headless guitars. You can actually watch the TikTok over here. So let's go over it. First things first, if you have spine issues, this is the way to go. Headless guitars are often less than 6 pounds. Factor in the fact that there's also no headstock. These guitars are just so much better balanced. When you're standing up with this guitar, it just kind of falls where it just needs to be. And with spine issues like the one I have, it's not necessarily all because of the weight of the guitar that would cause issues, but also the balance of the weight on your spine. So yeah, if you have spine issues or if you have any issues regarding your back or any kind of injury or something, you might want to consider this. Second thing, so tuning stability on a headless guitar is actually really amazing. Of all my guitars here, this is the one that stays in tune the longest of all of them. Whether or not your headless guitar has a nut or a first 0 fret, I think the reason why they excel so much at tuning stability is because of the distance between the clamp and either the nut or the first 0 fret that you have just being so minimal. There's just no space for the string to do any sort of movement. And speaking of tuning, these tuners on the bridge are so good at fine adjustments. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had issues with headstock tuners where you tune up to the pitch and you just miss it because it's just not fine enough. I almost never have that issue on headless tuners like the one on my Kiesel. It just goes straight to the pitch and it's just such a fine turn and it's very nice. So the third thing I want to go over, and this actually isn't as obvious as you might think, but because the guitar is more compact, because there's a bit of the body shaved off and then there's no headstock, I'm actually grabbing this guitar and playing it all around my house. You'll often see me on the couch with this guitar more often than other guitars, and this would be the guitar that I would take if I were going out just because it's just so compact and easy to travel with too. Without the headstock, I don't have to worry about either this being too long for like a car or something, or even just knocking things over on the various desks and tables around my place. So I completely understand that this is a subjective thing, but I think if there's any extra reason that a guitar is giving you to play more, I think you should take that. Because the more you play guitar, the better you're going to get at guitar, the more practice you're getting in on the guitar. And for me personally, and I'm sure for many other people, the guitar being headless and so compact is reason for me to pick it up and just play it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is just playing guitar more, right? And lastly, one big advantage of having a headless guitar, and this one's really important, you don't have to worry about your headstock breaking like on a Gibson. I would be lying if I said there were any drawbacks, because nothing is perfect. So what are the drawbacks to headless that I've found over my course of owning headless guitars? So there are two things I really want to talk about in this regard, because there are two things that you should know about owning a headless and what it can or cannot do and what it might feel like to play, and just in general things that you should look out for before buying a headless. First thing is that in many modern metal songs, there are open bends. So what that means is you're going to be bending above the nut, and because there's no string above the nut, there's no way to play the open bend riffs. So if you play a lot of songs with that, some Gojira has that, some After the Burial, I believe, has that. A headless might not suit you just because of those riffs, and that's completely fair. The second thing, and this one wasn't immediately obvious to me personally, the body of these guitars are much smaller than the typical body of a guitar with a headstock. From what I understand, this is to make sure that there isn't excessive body dive, which is the opposite of neck dive, that you would see in other kind of single cuts or even PRS guitars that I've played. And if you sit in the classical position like I do, i.e. with the guitar between the legs, you might notice that because the body is smaller, you just kind of have to make sure the guitar doesn't kind of slip between your legs. And another thing is this guitar has body underneath the tuning pegs, but oftentimes headless guitars don't. Many Strandbergs, many Ormsbys, they all have these open floating tuners on the body. I stress again, these tuners are so sturdy that even if they were to be on your thigh when you're playing, it won't go out of tune. But that is one thing to consider, is that if you feel like tuner pegs would bother you when they're in your thigh while you're playing, that's something you should make sure to account for before you go in and purchase a headless guitar. I know for me personally, I bought an Osiris because it has body under the tuning pegs. I can't imagine having these tuning pegs in my thigh while I'm playing. It would be really nice if popular guitar stores carried more headless guitar examples so that we could try them. I totally fell in love with the headless when I got it. I mean, this was a huge purchase, and I'm glad that when I got it that I really liked it, because if I were to not like it, and I could completely see how someone wouldn't like it, if I were to not like it, that would be a huge dent in my wallet for something that just didn't work for me. And not a lot of guitar stores like Guitar Center or whatnot have headless guitars in stock for you to try either. I could totally see someone having the exact opposite experience of me, where they just don't like their headless, and I completely could see that happening. I completely understand, because there are some things about this that aren't for everyone. Anyway, that's most of the thoughts that I had. I love headless guitars personally, but there are definitely things to make sure you look out for, and hopefully this video has helped with anyone else who was on the fence or unsure if they want to go dive into the headless market. I actually love the headless design so much that I have another one on order right now, and I'm excited for that. So stay tuned for that guitar. It'll make an appearance on the channel soon, I'm sure. Alright, that's going to do it for me. Like and sub if you liked the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.